Welcome back to Tao of Twang. I'm Dave. Got a really laid back piece here today. I'm going to give you a good sized chunk of this backing track to practice with. And that's where you're really going to get some stuff done on this rather than listening to me talk about it a whole bunch. Because I'm going to be able to get you going with what happened in that intro with just a few guidelines, right? And I'm going to demonstrate it for you. But remember, when you're doing this, don't try to make it sound like me. Just take the things that I'm showing you and telling you and use it to make something from your own musical mind. That you will get a lot further doing that than trying to just sound like somebody, okay? And it is going to sound very similar because we're going to keep this really simple on what the program is. Now, the piece is in C major, and we're going to be using the C major scale and also C major pentatonic. You kind of always do that, right, with these popular styles. So even if you've done it a million times, warm up with your C major scale. And the deeper you go into your warm up, you might, everything's not just adjacent any longer, right? You change directions, you skip some of the notes, you play some of it as more of like an arpeggiated sound or something. Don't worry about, every ism and asm of that. Just get warmed up. And you're warmed up when your fingers are just hitting the notes that are in that scale, even if they're in ways that you're not used to or you didn't plan it, right? It's not memorized, right? What's memorized is the constellation of it. How you move about happens in real time, okay? And with something like this, what we're doing today, that will work out for you because we're going to go at a reasonable pace and we're not going to be doing anything too outlandish at first. So, let's get this going with the backing track and look at the chords, and then we'll jump right in. See, the loop has like a 2 times around phrasing. The first time is F, G, C, A minor. Okay, and the second time is just F, G, and it holds the C. The C and the A minor are literally interchangeable melodically speaking, okay? And so you don't even have to think about those being different, really. And here's what I mean. Just get into that scale, and then we'll look at a little bit of shaping within the pentatonic and stuff. Don't even have to start off that fast. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit of extra stuff in there. I don't want to do a bunch of different individual demonstrations on this. I'm giving you that intro and then, that little passage right there. But let me break it down for you a little bit here. So the scale, the thing that makes the scale work, you can't play a bad note. Every note that's a chord tone of any of the chords in this piece are also in that C major scale. Another way of saying that is that there's a bucket of notes, and the bucket of notes has 7 notes in it. There's a bucket, it has 7 notes in it. Every chord and every note in the scale are shared. Okay, so you can't play a note that's out of the key using this method. But if I'm too careful and I play just notes that are always match up with one of the chord tones or something, or the triad shapes, it gets a little pedestrian, pretty quickly, right? If I just went, that's a good exercise to get around and just kind of learn your triad shapes. Nothing wrong with that. But once if you're familiar with that sort of exercise and looking at cage shapes and things, the thing that kind of starts to bring it to life is this feeling of tension and release. Okay. And I don't mean the kind of tension that you get in jazz where you're playing like notes that are outside or altered chord tones and stuff. In this case, we're just talking about notes that are not one of the 3 triad tones for each chord, right? You don't have to analyze all of this. Let your ear do it. You'll know when some of the notes sound like they're waiting to resolve, and some of the notes feel like they are resolved. That's it. It's one or the other, right? And it could be going up or down to the resolving one or so forth. And so that's what you want to be working out on with your ear with something like this. Get that scale under your fingers where you're not sitting there staring at the scale and hunting around for notes, and get it to where your hand is just playing that scale. And then I'm going to really exaggerate this, and you know what? You'll be able to tell which ones are resolving and which ones are tensioners. Well, I really served that last one up, didn't I? I played that. The chord had already gone to the C, and I hit the note above the C. It's called the 9. It's D in the key of C. Okay, and that gave it that feeling of like, when I did hit that C, finally hit it, it had a payoff. Right? If I just gone, chord tone, chord tone, chord tone, chord tone, it would be pleasant insofar as that they all belong, but they get their meaning from being the resolution of something that causes tension before it. This is a basic concept in music. It gets talked about and mentioned quite a bit, especially in jazz. But I think that sometimes with these popular styles, it doesn't get talked about as much. It's just sort of like taken for granted. Oh, we're just going to play, all these cage shapes and triads, and that's it. You're good to go. Play all your triad shapes. Yes, that's very important. But without the surrounding kind of, you know, in and out and weaving around with, through having that, what makes it shine is the tension around it. So one more quick example here where I'm going to do some bending on the G string just because it's nice in this position. And also it kind of emphasizes the pentatonic sound versus just the 7-note scale. Let's see where we are. Okay, so a couple little, flub ups in there because I'm trying to like cover all the stuff that I want to make an example of. And that's not how I normally just play if I was just playing. So pardon me for those, you're playing something so pretty and all of a sudden you're just like, you gank it or whatever. It happens all the time, right? But we're not going to redo stuff on here because of something like that. This is what it's like when you're teaching yourself, when you're trusting the process, when you're letting yourself become immersed in that key. And there's no bad notes. There's no right or wrong. It's just I'm at the resolution I want, or I'm just one step away up or down from it, right? Takes time to internalize this, experience it, be with it, and then enjoy the benefits of it. There is a complex set of things that have to happen physically and psychologically for that progress to show itself, right? And a lot of times you'll have like just today, when you get on this backing track, you might have some nice moments where you're like, man, okay, this is working, And then, tomorrow you might get on there and like, wait a second, I don't remember anything I did, and that's okay. Go back through the same process again. Watch this video again. Do the same thing. Warm up. Breathe. Go slow. Take the time to recognize each note that you're playing and whether it's a tensioner or a release note, right? And all your notes have meaning. If you really follow through with that, you're there. You're not playing any gratuitous, there's no fat on it. It all means something, all right? So I'm going to put about 5 or 6 minutes of this backing track on here now. Go for it. Let me know how it goes. See you next time.